welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbalwe in Abuja. Our eyes are still on the election and our countdown continues. Now today, as you know, is just about 40 days to the 2023 elections, and Nigerians are anticipating the opportunity to elect their leaders in February next year. Precisely 46 days where you will be having the opportunity to use your permanent voter card and make your vote count. Some worries in some quarters before the election. The Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, is raising an alarm over the security situation in the build-up to the election. And they've been speaking about this, but today at the press conference, they reiterate what has become a major issue that needs to be nipped in the bud. Take a listen to the chairman of the IPAC.
We are deeply concerned about the level of insecurity in the country, spreading in most part of the states, where the governors are using sponsored touts to stop and destroy campaign materials and the party offices of the opposition political parties. The heightened politically motivated killings and attacks are worrisome and should stop immediately for citizens to discharge their civic duties. Security agents should fish out the perpetrators of this heinous crime and their sponsors to face justice. The 2023 general election is indeed a defining moment for Nigerians to choose new leaders that will pilot the affairs of the nation. In the next 4 years, eligible citizens should collect their PVCs and vote for candidates of their choice. INEC's position on the deployment of technology in the conduct of the 2020 general election is in tandem with the stance of IPAC, particularly its decision to deploy the bimodal voters registration system, BVAS, and voters using the voters' fingerprint. It is this improved technology in the conduct of elections that triggered attacks on INEC facilities and Grand Plus to remove its chairman few weeks to the presidential and National Assembly election, slated for 25th February 2023. PAC
today is the umbrella body for political party when they come together earlier today in Abuja. Now, let's check out some of the political roundup stories. And when we come back tonight, a major force in the presidential race, the NNPP, seems to have gotten started with their strategy ahead of the election. We'll be hearing from my very good friend, Abdulmumin Jibrin, who joins me on the program tonight, and also one of the outsiders in politics who are hoping to be able to have their say in politics, who will be joining me also on the program. Banky W is also our guest tonight on the program. So stay with me. It promises to be some interesting conversation tonight. Let's check out some of your political roundup stories, everyone.
The president of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dongba Mensem, is threatening to sack and prosecute any judicial officer found compromising her duties at the election tribunals, explaining that there will be no room for corruption. She adds that investigations show that the desire of most judicial officers to serve on the tribunals was for personal reasons and not for national interest. She was speaking at a training for election tribunal registry staff in Abuja.
Anyone who exhibits the tendency to compromise the interests of our nation for self is going to be pulled out.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and heads of security agencies in Taraba State are partnering to identify, analyze, map out and address any threat to INEC facilities, staff and materials before the conduct of the 2023 general elections in the state. The State Interagency Consultative Committee meeting on security, which is chaired by the INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner, Mr. Umar Mukhtar, wants to give residents the expected confidence to exercise their franchise without fear as security agencies deploy more personnel to avert any breach of peace. However, Mr. Mukhtar disclosed that the commission in the state has taken custody of over 3,500 beavers and IRF machines following the creation of additional polling units in the state. A faction of the People's Democratic Party in Katsina State, led by the former governor of the state, Mr. Ibrahim Shema, has organized campaign rally in support of the PDP presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and his running mate, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa. The rally held at the Atiku campaign office in the state capital had in attendance crowd of supporters in their thousands across 34 local government areas of the state. Addressing the party supporters at the event, the leader of the faction and former governor of Katsina State, represented by the former state PDP chairman Salisu Majigari, restated their support to the PDP presidential candidate. All may not be well with the ruling All Progressives Congress APC in Enugu State, as some aggrieved members of the party are calling for the removal of the state chairman of the party over allegations of fraud. The group, which staged a protest at the APC headquarters in Abuja, is asking the party leadership to dissolve the state executive and appoint a caretaker committee to champion the affairs of the party going forward.
We call for the immediate removal of Ugochukwu Agbara as the acclaimed as the state chairman of APC Enugu State and appointment of caretaker chairman to pilot the affair through the 2023 general election.
A coalition of civil society groups in Abuja is warning politicians and their supporters to desist from eating up the polity with fake news and hate speeches, actions they say are capable of disrupting the peaceful conduct of the 2023 general elections. As in journalists in Abuja, the group urges politicians across party lines to work for the peaceful conduct of the 2023 general elections and shun behaviors that are capable of destabilizing the country's democracy. The Presidential Campaign Committee of the Labour Party has been talking about its strategy of reaching the grassroots ahead of the next month's election. The leadership of the committee lists deployment of technology as part of its ways of mobilizing more youths and other voters. Spokesperson of the committee was speaking at the launch of the Obedient Town Hall app in Lagos. According to the group, the app will assist the team run an informed campaign and make precise decisions based on data to show where to channel more effort.
What we have is actually what will make P2B to have a structure better than what the APC or PDP can ever boast about.
Thank you so much, everyone. There you have it. You've been served. Let's tell you that the All Progressives Congress APC campaign got a boost today as the president, excuse me, Muhammadu Buhari was on the podium in Yola, the Adamawa State capital, to campaign for the APC presidential candidate and the party, Bola Tinubu. The party presidential candidate called on the people of the state to vote the first female governor in the country, who was also conversing support for the party's governorship candidate in the state, Senator Aisha Binani, saying she has all it takes to become governor. Take a listen to President Buhari and Bola Tinubu.
I advise you to please be focused. APC came into the political field to make sure that Nigerians are recognized as the owners of the country. They are nobody's slave, they are nobody's boy. They are fellow Nigerians. I would like you to make sure that you work very hard in the field, produce the food we need, pay your taxes, and make sure that our children go to school, that our unhealthy relatives get medical care. That's all we need from government.
Fight insecurity. We will defeat hunger. We will banish hunger. We will restore famine. Food storage will be there. Our women, my partner, I've worked so hard for all of you, for all of us. Nigeria is blessed.
All right, you have it there. The presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, Mr. Rabiu Kwankwaso, is promising to make education a priority of his administration if voted as president. Speaking today at the inauguration of the party's presidential campaign council in Abuja, the former Kano governor says that he will provide compulsory free education by building 500,000 classrooms across 36 states of the federation, which will accommodate the over 20 million out-of-school children. Is also promising to address the security challenges facing the country and provide employment opportunities for the youth. Let's get some insight on what NNPP did today and perhaps some of the reasons behind the inauguration of the Presidential Campaign Council. I'm being joined by a former member of the House of Reps, a federal lawmaker, former federal lawmaker, and also a candidate of the NNPP for the federal house in his constituency and the spokesperson of the NNPP presidential campaign, Honorable Adbumumi Nchibreni, joins us live here in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much indeed for coming.
Thank you so much, Sean.
46 days to the election and you're just inaugurating your campaign. Why?
Well, the inauguration, it's a formality. And if you followed our activities in the last couple of the weeks, couple of months, you'll know that we've set the ball rolling, even much more earlier than the three other political parties that are trying to compete with us. We've been going around, we've been holding our town halls, meetings, we've been opening our offices all over the country, meeting all the stakeholders and the rest. And majority of the people that were inaugurated today have been part of his the political family, the transition from the Nigerian movement, then all the way to his movement after leaving the PDP. They've been together, and everybody has been doing his own part of his work. I know that generally when people see the news today, they will say, "Oh, they're just setting up their campaign council." No, the campaign council has been working, but it is important to just fulfill that formality that people are being inaugurated today. But all the while, we've been working.
I mean, you're not a newbie in politics, so I probably wouldn't need to be talking about the rudiments of political campaigns and what can assure a politician to win an election. And I mean, I'd like to ask, how has your campaign been going? Because your party and your candidate has been seen, and permutations have also been that it's probably the fourth leg in a four-horse race. That is how this campaign has been described.
Well, again, that is absolutely wrong. It's incorrect. A lot of people, using pools, all sort of arrangements to be able to throw around a kind of a perception in the public. In the last, as I've just explained to you, he's been doing a lot, and many people calls it the 11th wonders of the world. For him to have come up with a political party, go all alone, because a lot of his friends, the so-called big men, were doubting the fact that perhaps they underestimated his connection with the masses of this country. Within months, set up the party, go through congresses, go through primaries, at the same time going around the country, setting up offices. In terms of the campaign, he's done much more than all the presidential candidates. He's not going to states. None of the presidential candidates has even gone up to 50% of the states. But Kwankwaso has gone to over 400 local governments. 400 on record. 400 local government. A documentary was launched today, and you would see the videos, the pictures, and all the towns and the cities that he has visited. And before the election, he will be able to finish up the 774 local governments that we have in the country. It's unprecedented, and that's why sometimes we complain that perhaps the media is not giving us fair coverage that we have. I'm sorry.
You're not positioning yourself.
No. I'm sorry to mention
No,
that.
because
but
you politicians always blame the media.
In terms of,
we are easy to be blamed.
In terms of the practical campaign, I can say this not because I'm a member of the NNPP.
Party has not, your candidate has not been captured
much more than
in the science of the polls, in the science of the permutation. Your candidate has not been captured favorably.
I'm so glad that you brought up that issue. I'm so happy when you mentioned that. You see, because we've also been in the trenches campaigning and the rest, we haven't had time to respond to a lot of issues. The last one that came up was from somebody that I respect so much, the ITBC man, the bank,
the founder of Anna Foundation. Stanbic IBTC.
Atedo. Come on national television and you're just reading figures without basis, without a foundation, with nothing, absolute nonsense. You can't come on national TV and you talk about Kwankwaso in northwestern Nigeria and you say he's going to get 6% of the vote. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso,
is he the one saying
in
that?
northwest of Nigeria?
Or what
they are talking about the polls. So what we've discovered about these polls that are coming, you see these polls, we can go into the bedroom and arrange a poll and just shoot it out. And you say this one will get that one will get that. But when we notice, we've come to a conclusion that some people know that they are going to lose the next election. We are going to win the next election. They know they are going to lose. So they are setting the grounds to reject the results. And that is why you see these polls coming out without credibility. When you ask them, who are those doing the polls? Who are in their boards? How do they even get this? Where are they getting their data from them? And somebody will tell you that he called Kanu, where unofficially we are over 20 million. Officially, just slightly less than 10 million, the census figure. Somebody says he calls 200 people in Kano, or he calls 150 people in Kano. Do you know even what does he know what he's talking about? Now, talking about the campaign and everything that is going on. Look, Shehu, I have said this repeatedly in this program. You have the APC, you have the PDP, you have the Labour Party, you have the NNPP. The chunk of the votes that will always determine who wins the presidential election comes from the northern part of the country. And today, I keep saying it, for about 15 years, Buhari controlled that 12 million vote. Today, Kwankwaso is the one controlling the 12 million vote. Go to the northern part of the country, you will see reality. Not even Buhari can control that 12 million vote.
Why?
And that is why you see most of the candidates.
Why do you think he can?
You see, let me tell you, the law of diminishing returns. He has already done his own, everything supported for about 15 years. I'm not talking about what he's done right or done wrong. I don't want to go into that. But it's a natural law of diminishing returns. He has done his 8 years, and those people, everybody, all of us that have supported him in the north, we said, thank you, Baba, you've done your own. Go home. And he's going home. And that is why you see, you can tell. Do you need somebody to tell you? You don't see anybody putting the picture of the Buhari in his posters. I think that Buhari went to Adamawa today. He should look at the road and see all the people that are saying, come and campaign for us, come and campaign for us, come and campaign for us. When you have a national leader, even when he is not contesting in an election, you want to put his picture.
If you're not campaigning for Kwankwaso, you probably would have been doing that for Tinubu. In fact, you are probably the first man. Just remember. No. Hold on.
Can you just hold on? That was in 2020.
You don't even know what my question.
Go ahead, please.
Is your conscience? Is something?
No,
that,
it's not.
No. Just hold on. Let me ask my question. I mean, if you were not campaigning for Kwankwaso, you probably would be doing so for Tinubu.
Yes.
And you left the APC, and now you are saying that there is a law of diminishing returns for Buhari in terms of the votes that he has, the capacity.
He can't have that.
But the question is that you don't think that as he went up the stage today in the northern Nigeria, Buhari is no force and Tinubu cannot benefit in any way from Buhari's advantage?
There is nothing. He's not going to benefit from it. And that is why when APC, when they do their analysis, you know, all the time, they talk about the PDP. And they say, oh, PDP lost Kwankwaso. PDP lost Peter Obi. PDP lost 5 governors. Yes, PDP is in crisis. Not only crisis, PDP is in a mess. But APC is even in a more challenging and in a more damaging situation.
Can you explain that?
One, that 12 million vote is not there. Two, when you say Kwankwaso left PDP, the assumption is that he left with only PDP people. No! Many people from APC joined him. Where did I come from? Am I not coming from APC? We have all gone to APC. Look, as it stands today, trust me, APC have lost about 70 to 80% of its support base in northern Nigeria. So by the time Kwankwaso mop up those votes, particularly in the northwestern part of the country, put it together, and now we're making significant inroad in the southern part of the country, we'll be able to win the election.
Let's talk.
I don't see, there is no miracle on earth. Let me tell you this, Sheung, no miracle on earth will make APC or PDP win the next presidential election.
Really?
No miracle on earth.
So will we win?
You will see what will happen.
No, can
the fireworks, we are winning the election.
Okay, so and I want to know, you don't have any state that you control as a political party. No single National Assembly member. No single state assembly member.
Wrong. Wrong.
Which state assembly member do you
Wrong.
have?
Wrong.
No, tell us.
No,
if
I'm telling
wrong,
you, wrong.
I mean, I stand to be corrected.
Go to the record in the House of the Representatives. We have, in fact, that's why people are even praising us. When some people are placing Labour Party ahead of us, they say, how can you place Labour Party ahead of them? When a lot of members are jumping camp from other parties coming into APC, we have senators that have moved. The person contesting in Bauchi today, who is going to be the next governor of Bauchi, is a sitting senator. He moved to NNPP. Traditionally, even in Kano, we have almost about 10 members of state assembly. A lot of other states, many members. So you see,
good to know that.
You are probably getting this information from Atudi's side, Peter's side, and the rest.
That's the assumption.
Be careful with all this Googling thing, and you just get information. Research it. We have members everywhere, serving members. We have serving senators.
It's amusing that you're saying that, but I have known you for several years, and you've known me. You know me for several years. I'm not one of them. I'm a thoroughbred. So let me ask the question, and I'm happy that you're able to point out the lawmakers that you have. I'm pointing to the fact that the issue of structure that I'm going to mention. Now, you said you're going to win this election. Give us at least 10 states that you think you can win conveniently and comfortably as a political party in the presidential race.
Kano, Katsina, Jigawa, Kaduna, Yobe, Taraba. How many have I given? About 6, I don't want you said 10. Yeah. Otherwise, I would have just said, okay, take 90% of northern state. So I'm just going to do the counting. Zamfara, Kebbi, all those ones are our states. Nasarawa is our. So
give me an understanding how you are going to defeat the PDP and the APC in some of these strongholds which they hold presently.
I have told you our route to success. Do not always, significantly, do not always tilt to a particular side. The northern vote will come in bulk. It is not going to go into pieces. And because of the credibility of Kwankwaso, because of the performance of Kwankwaso, because of the trust that the northern voters have in this gentleman, so Kwankwaso is going to mob substantially the vote that is going to come from the northern part of the country. I've just explained that to you, that Kwankwaso is the beneficiary of the Buhari 12 million votes. Certainly, another politician will have to come up to inherit that. And because Buhari's Buhari's politics is common as politics, it's masses base. None of the surviving northern politicians have that connection with the masses like Kwankwaso. They will go that way. I'm telling you, he's holding it. You see what we are saying is going to happen in the next 5-6 weeks. You will see what I am telling you. And that's why when you hear people even go to Kano and somebody say he's looking for vote in Kano. In Kano, you are looking for vote. In Kano. Do a simple experiment. I'm saying this on national TV now, and I want everybody to experiment this. Take Kano from one end to another. Maybe you take from the access road to Katsina, then you come out in Kwana Dangura, Zaria Road. Take a vehicle and put a song of Kwankwaso, drive to and fro. Put a song of Atiku with loudspeaker, drive to and fro. Put a song of Tinubu, drive to and fro. Put a song of Peter Obi, drive to and fro. come back to the studio and tell people what you see.
So
these are the practical pools, not a pool that somebody sitting and put outside the house and making
you're a politician, so you will say the thing.
Then you will see the reality.
Now,
you will drive past mechanics, artisans, food sellers, traders, motorcycle drivers, and the rest. You know, those are the people you pass by the roadside. You pass through the town, the city, and the rest. Just song, nothing. So you will see.
Like quickly. So you look at, you've mentioned some of these states that you think you are very confident, and I probably will focus on the real deal. So you have the KKK. Out of the 10 states that have the largest voting population, I'll take the KKK and some of the other states. I'm talking about the Kano, the Katsina, the Kaduna, the Bauchi. These are the 4 states that will command nothing less than 10 million votes in the northern Nigeria. Now, for example, you look at the crowd that came out for Atiku Abubakar and the PDP, and you look at the crowd that came out for APC and Tinubu at their different campaigns in Kano, especially when Shekarau came out to join the PDP. And you say those amount to nothing.
I want to answer this question cautiously, very cautiously. And I just gave you an instance. I want to choose my words carefully. Let me tell you something. You know what happened in Kano? The rallies that you are seeing, our own outing in Kano was fully Kano, was just Kano alone. What happened in Kano last week is a combination of Northwest. People from all, in fact, northern Nigeria all gathered in Kano. Even at that, people were take clamp car.
What is that?
Take clamp car. That's why I say, let me choose my words carefully. Everybody was seeing it. It's been videoed now. It's been played everywhere. Everybody was seeing. They were fighting on the street and the rest. They would go to local schools, just give them money, push them in a bus. They go there and go and gather. But look at how organic Kwankwaso's crowd is. But you see, we will keep arguing about this. 6 weeks. 6 weeks. You will come back and say, I tell you this.
I will invite you. Not only that, you're speaking
Let me even draw a conclusion for you.
So you are also
there is no party that will even get a 25% in Kano. Put a bet with me. No party will get 25% in Kano. So you have no idea what's going on there. You see, when we see people come to television
will win landslide in Kano, that's what you're saying.
Massively.
Now, the question
you know what?
Yeah.
And you know what? That is why he will have an advantage, because he's going to open his balance sheet with a massive advantage. Now, previously, why APC were winning the election was because Buhari was giving them the advantage of opening the election with that massive balance sheet of 10 to 12 million votes. They don't have it. And meanwhile, they are jumping up and down, they are celebrating. And you know, you keep thinking, how are they going to do that? Now, most of their governors, they've lost credibility. Maybe probably when you take a Rufai, 1 or 2 other persons, yes. But again, most of them cannot even go back to their state.
Let's wrap up this conversation and quickly. Why should anyone vote for Kwankwaso over the other 17 candidates?
Brilliant. Experience. Capacity. Performance. Trust. And this is the simple reason why 500,000 people, 1 million people will come out on the street of Kano to receive this man without spending money. Look, let me tell you something. Wallahi tallahi, that is the oath of a Muslim. Everything you see Kwankwaso doing, money is not involved. It's a miracle. See, look, let me just say this. Because I'm a politician in this country, I know what I'm telling you. When you see them gather people, they give money. The man doesn't. Nobody. So everybody, even a local.
The final question for you, because we're out of time, is that why is the talk of alignment with other political parties? Because the reason they're saying is that there is a possibility that there will be an inconclusive election based on the fact that there might be a second ballot. So why is this talk that Kwankwaso is shopping, or they're shopping for him for an alignment? Is your party talking to any other political party for alignment?
Now, this is what is going on, and all this is coming from the other 3 political parties, and probably they did their analysis, and they don't want to accept the fact that Kwankwaso will win with some margin. So they're consoling themselves by saying we will have a tie in such a way that there will be a second round. The issue of discussion, second round, whatsoever, and the rest never comes from NNPP. We're focused. We're straight.
So you're not aligning with anybody?
We know it's nonsense. We're not aligning with anybody. We're not pulling out with anybody.
We're out of time,
totally, yeah. They are already afraid. And they're going all around helter-skelter to achieve one of the 2 things. Either to diminish us in the eyes of people, that, oh, they don't have the strength, so we're trying to align with them, or to prepare the grounds in a likelihood, in an unlikely event that there's a tie, and we're going to go for a second
Honorable
round.
Admominu Jibrin, spokesperson of the NNPP Presidential Campaign Council, and also a candidate for the federal constituency in Kano for under the platform of the NNPP, a former lawmaker. Thank you so much indeed for coming.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. We'll take a break, everyone. And when we return, Nigerian music sensation and a businessman who has now turned his attention to politics. He wants to go into the National Assembly on the platform of the PDP in Lagos. Banky Wellington, Banky W, will be joining me next on the program. We'll be looking at his ambition and why he's decided to run for that office. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
With this squad app, I think my customers will understand that it's my own POS. No, wuru-wuru, no waka-waka.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. It's not unusual when you find those you regard as outsiders in Nigeria's politics trying their, not luck this time around, trying to have a say in the affairs of this country. Sometimes you find musicians, business people, and this time around, tonight, we'll be talking to one person who done very well for himself in the area of music, and now he wants to be in the National Assembly. What are his reasons and what has been the experience? I'm being joined by Banky Wellington, popularly called Banky W. He joins us live in our Lagos studio. He's running on the platform of the People's Democratic Party for the Federal House of Representatives in Lagos. Thank you so much, Banky W. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Sheil. I'm so glad to be on your program. Thanks for having me on the show.
Great. Let's begin. I know this is not your usual terrain. This is not your usual turf. How's it been for you?
So far, so good. The journey has been very much a baptism of fire, but a very positive, very inspiring journey. For people that know, I contested in 2019. Back then, it was very much an independent move. It was myself and a friend of mine, BK. We put together the Modern Democratic Party at that time. And I think that was, you know, for me, what I say is that in 2019, we planted the seed. But in 2023, by God's grace, we'll win the seat. So it's not my first go-round. And I've learned some very, very interesting lessons that have given me a bit more wisdom, which we're applying now as we contest this time. So I feel very, very optimistic and positive that we're going to win this time, by God's grace.
4 years appears to be a long time. Since then, you've been a husband, you've been a father, you've opened new businesses, and now coupled with your renewed ambition to want to run for the Federal House of Representatives. Now,
yes, sir.
Give me an understanding why you want to be a federal lawmaker.
So it's really quite simple. For as long as I've been relevant in entertainment, that's in the music business, in the movie business, for as long as I've been a businessman and entrepreneur in Nigeria, for as long as God has blessed me, I've always been very vocal about our country, about the need for good governance, about the need for young people to participate in politics. In all humility, I say that I've probably participated in more peaceful protests than just about anybody that I know. The most recent being NSARS, but going back the last 12, 14, 15 years, Bring Back Our Girls, Occupy Nigeria, Light Up Nigeria, Enough is Enough, the Register, Select, Vote, Protect movement. So I've always been extremely vocal. But the truth is that the goal of activism and advocacy is change. It's improvement, it's impact. So until we've started to see the kind of change that we seek, then it means our activism has not yet been completely successful. And for me, it dawned on me some time ago that we needed to start moving from protest to power. We needed to start putting like minds at the table of government, right-thinking people, people who come from that outside advocate perspective, come from that private sector business experience, people who know what the country is going through because they've gone through the same things, people who've had to build companies and provide jobs and be a stepping stone for young people. And people from that side of things needed to come into our government because at the end of the day, you cannot hijack a plane unless you're inside. So we have to get into the system to fix it from within. And that's really what inspired me some years ago to start kind of changing my focus to say, you know what, with the education I have, with the audience I have, with the background I've been given, with the experiences I have as an entrepreneur, a businessman, a servant of the community, with all of those things lined up, if I can't be one of the people to stick my neck out and, you know, make the sacrifice to try and get into our government, then who am I waiting for to do that? I strongly believe that the problems in Nigeria are from the top down, but a lot of the solutions are from the bottom up. So we need to start focusing on different levels, getting people into government at different levels, and being the change that we want to see from within. And that's what informed my journey into politics.
It's an interesting journey, actually. So you look at that journey, and one area that is also very prominent was the role you played in the NSAS campaign. Right. Would you say that played out well? Did it go according to plan? And what exactly was the, did you guys set out to achieve with that?
So, you know, I think the NSAS campaign, I think it depends on how you look at it. I think that on the one hand, there are people who felt very disappointed by the way it all came to a crashing end. There were people who, you know, really wanted us to go a lot further than we did. However, I think that big wheels, even though they do turn slow, they still do turn. And anybody who is looking at this as some sort of sprint to the finish line has it mistaken, because this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And I think the NSAS protest, the peaceful protests, were a very positive step in the right direction in just bringing the awareness of the country to a certain place, in bringing government to the table, in letting young people feel like they had a voice in our in the national conversation about something that was plaguing young people, something that was really harming the plight of young people in the country. Now, obviously, we would have liked to see it go a lot further, but I do think that it was a positive, at least as far as the peaceful protest side of things is concerned. I think it definitely was a positive, but like I said, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Anybody that was expecting Nigeria to be excellent overnight and everything, you know, will just be perfect going forward doesn't know how these things work. So with that being said, I think while it was a positive, I'll go back to my first point about saying we have to move from protest to power, because you can't protest forever, right? The truth is, no kind of protest is sustainable permanently. And while we do have to continue to peacefully speak up and speak truth to power, some of us have to cross the divide to get into the system to try and fix it from within. And I think that's what informed my own foray into politics. That's why I'm still here. And we're trying to build a bridge into mainstream politics for other people to do the same thing.
But Banky,
yes,
I mean, should you win this election, would you be doing anything in terms of policy drive to push such ideas in the National Assembly? Should you be a federal lawmaker? And if that is the case, what would that be?
Well, absolutely. I think the entire purpose of me going into politics, into the National Assembly, is to be that voice for reform. I believe very strongly that the way that we get out of the mess that we're in as a nation is through innovation and reform. Now, innovation doesn't really happen inside of government offices. Innovation happens in the private sector. It happens in fintech, in media, in entertainment, in agriculture, in banking, in telecoms. That's where innovation happens. If you take the 7 unicorns that are on the African continent, Nigeria has 5. So you know that as a people, we chase innovation pretty well, but we need reform. And reform can only happen when you put reform-minded people at the table of policy making, at the table of government to say, what can we do differently about the things that we've always done to try and put this nation on the path towards growth and development? So we need people who are reform-minded. So for instance, in our educational sector, you know, there's the Universal Basic Education Act, the UBE Act. Can we reform that a bit to say, instead of it being a counterpart-funded program, can we make it a program for results so that states that are fiscally struggling, that cannot meet up with their counterpart of the funding, maybe they can, if it's a program for results, it can be performance incentivized. So your enrollment, your teacher-student ratio, your pass ratio of your students. So we're incentivizing the performance of our educational sector to allow states that are struggling to unlock that funding. NYSC is another example in our educational sector. I don't know that there's anybody that would disagree that NYSC today probably does not achieve everything that it was originally designed for. So how do we reform it? Don't cancel it, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, but how can we reform it? Can we say maybe instead of it being a mandatory program, let's excise it from the Constitution and make it optional? And then if that's the case, the people who don't need it will go. Now the people who are remaining, you can pay them more. So instead of paying them 30,000 naira a month, which does nothing for a young person in today's Nigeria, you can pay them 60 or 70 or 80K. And then the sunk cost of the campsites and the buildings and the places where the NYSC camp holds, instead of sticking with this march past at 4 a.m., which most young people probably allegedly bribe their way out of, how do we turn that into skill acquisition centers? How do we turn it into technology hubs? How do we turn it into places where they can gain leadership skills or soft skills? So it's that reform-minded approach.
I see that you have your plate very full with some of the ideas you are hoping to push. But,
yes, sir.
But I mean, to really narrow down, what would be your personal and main objective as a lawmaker, if elected, that you're taking to the National Assembly? What would that be? One thing that is your agenda, that is pushing you, that is driving you to go into the National Assembly?
All right, you know, you can't give politicians a microphone. We will talk plenty, so I'm going to tell you two. First of all, everybody can go to my website, banky2023.com, to check out the legislative agenda. But if I had to narrow it down, I would say taking this reform approach to our educational system and to our healthcare. Because at the end of the day, I've done a lot of charity work, a lot of community service things. We've done the Lekki Food Bank. We've provided food for over 150,000 people in Lagos State. And while I'm grateful for that level of impact, a food bank is not a sustainable solution. It doesn't solve everything. It's a temporary stopgap measure. Young people don't want to live off of giveaways, off of handouts, off of food distribution. Young people just want to be given the tools to fend for themselves and to find a way out for themselves. I'm a living testimony that when given an opportunity, a young person can rise from nothing to something. I've seen it happen in my life. I've seen it happen in so many of the people that I've worked with. So it's taking that approach to politics. But how do we do that? How do we democratize opportunities for our young people? They have to be healthy, so we have to take a look at our primary healthcare centers and make sure they're up to speed. In Etiosa, there's no general hospital as we speak, as of today. So they have to be healthy, and then their education has to be addressed. How do we make technology, access to technology, available for our young people so that they can begin to fend for themselves, either as employees who have the skill set to be hired in today's world, or as employers and entrepreneurs themselves. So it would be that approach. We call my manifesto the 7 E's for Etiosa. It's available on my website, banky2023.com. So I'm happy to invite everybody that's watching to check it out.
Let's touch on a few other issues quickly before we go. You've talked about a few ideas in terms of policy that you would like to work on should you be elected. Yeah. Now, the reality is this. You have to win this election before you can even get these ideas pushed forward.
Absolutely.
You're running against someone who is planning to, not only him, but you are running against, there is an incumbent in that seat, in the APC, Babajide Obanikoro, who is also popularly called Igbo. In your area, it means one thing, that is also very popular in your area. And now, this is not your first time of perhaps being beaten in that respect. Now, what do you see in this election? Are you afraid of the opposition you're up against?
Absolutely not. I think that, first of all, the choices for Etiosa are clear. For everybody who is coming to the polls, the choices are between things remaining the same or trying something different. Trying something different, and I think that's where we have an advantage. I think people are tired of, representation that doesn't really represent the people, that doesn't necessarily have the best interests of the people at heart. And I think that that's what we bring to the table. I think the people of Etiosa are very much standing with us. They're very much believers in what we're trying to do. We've spent a lot of time in the community over the past few years just doing the work, listening to the people, trying to figure out where the pain is, what the problems are, and how we can use the powers of this office to address that. I think that what we represent is the chance for Etiosa to finally have transparent, accountable, empathetic representation. And I think that's what we bring to the table. So I'm very, very confident.
I'm going to ask you another political question.
I'm not afraid at all. I'm very confident.
And this question perhaps in the respect that, look, the candidate of the APC, presidential candidate of the APC, is from Lagos State.
Yes.
And there will be that natural tendency of the people of the state to say, this is our own. That is an assumption. And the choice of your party, the PDP, how popular is your party in Lagos State considering the past election and what has become a very well-known internal issues in your party? Does this give you some kind of doubt about your chances going into the election, especially when you have a presidential candidate of the APC who has his domain as Lagos?
Right. So I think for me, I don't see it so much as a problem, because I think, if anything, the people of Lagos are very enlightened. They're very progressive. They're very enlightened. There's a very knowledgeable population in Lagos, not just, at the highest levels of business, but even amongst the young people. I mean, in Etiosa, that's where NSARS happened. So I think if young people there were happy with the status quo, then you wouldn't have seen any of that. But you're seeing a level of awareness and engagement in Lagos and all around Nigeria today that shows you that our young people have never been this energized about our political process. And I think that that bodes well for candidates like me. You mentioned the fact that there are some issues, but honestly, there is really no political party anywhere in the world where you will not find issues. There's no organization of people where you will not find issues, because human beings inherently we're imperfect people. And when you come to something like politics where there are various interests, you will have clashes of egos and clashes of interests.
So, but I'm confident. Let's go now. We're totally out of time.
Let me just land on this. I'm confident that as the People's Democratic Party, we will put it together by the finish line and we'll be successful in this election.
All right. Just help me. Just have 20 seconds for you to answer this. And this is my final question to you. Quickly, this game is about win or lose. Should you lose this election, would you give it a try? And what would you be telling those who are probably thinking that they might be leaving those other forays and coming to politics? Be advising them that this is something that they could do also in 30 seconds, Banky.
Okay, in 20 seconds. By the grace of God and with the support of the people of Etiosa, we will not lose this election. We are going to win this election. However, if my service to the community was only dependent on whether or not I got a seat in government, then I don't deserve a seat in the first place. And so I will always be a son and a servant of Etiosa. I will always be one of the people that speaks up for the best interests of my people and for the country at large. And I will always be somebody that tries to open the door a little wider and build a bigger bridge for more people to come in and do the same. This is about getting like minds, right-thinking people into various levels of government. That's what I truly believe. That's what I will always stand for, whether it has anything to do with me or not. But I will win this election by God's grace and with the support of the people. Thank you so much.
All right. You might have sung your way into the hearts of many Nigerians, but definitely, Banky W, you probably will have to talk your way into the hearts of the people of Etiosa to get their votes. Thank you so much indeed, Olubankole Wellington, Banky W, a member and a candidate of the PDP in Etiosa for the federal constituency election. Thank you indeed for coming on tonight.
Thank you so much, Sheon. God bless.
You're welcome. Well, that's our show tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sheon Okimale. I'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. God bless Nigeria.